Afternoon VC, Harris here, bringing you another video. First up, can I just thank everyone for watching and commenting my last video, because normally I trundle along at about 100 views, which I'm more than happy with, love that. Couldn't be happier, to be honest. As I always say, how many people were at the Last Supper? 12, and we still talk about that. But I was a bit sneaky with that one, because I've got about 800 views on that one. It was a madhouse. And I was a little bit sneaky because I put it out on a Friday when I knew My Bloody Valentine were dropping their album. So I did think by putting My Bloody Valentine in the title, I might get a few tyre kickers, and that proved to be the case because my views went berserk. But yeah, so I kind of feel that was a bit of a sellout for me. That was kind of my Dylan Goes Electric Judas moment, really. I feel I sold out a bit there, and I hated Dylan when he went electric, and although to be fair, I hated him more when he was acoustic, to be honest. So yeah, 42 seconds in, and I've already lost a few Dylan fans. But speaking of Dylan, anyone who watches my videos know I'm not the biggest fan of classic rock, really. I've got a sort of a irrational fear of it, coming probably from my youth, when growing up at our school, really, you had to either be into punk or soul or reggae or ska. And no one was really into classic rock, and obviously you had Johnny Lydon with his I Hate Pink Floyd t-shirt and blah, blah, blah. But as the years roll on, I do find myself getting into a bit of classic rock. I don't know what's happened. I think it is the ageing process, I'm not sure. So I've got a few here that I've picked up probably quite recently as well, which I'm really enjoying. I'm really enjoying. The first up, and this is one this is an album that seemed to be around all my life, and I thought I'd avoid it like the plague. The Almond Brothers at Fillmore East. I assumed all my life, and I only bought this very recently, that this would be like the worst example of southern boogie rock, with sort of, automobile-based sexual innuendo, and I saw it in a shop the other day, and it's my mate's got a little stall, and I thought I'll help him out and I'll buy it. It was fairly cheap, actually. UK, import copy. I think it's an 80s copy, this. And I just thought, do you know what, I'm going to buy this, I might like it. And I don't know why I thought that. It starts off a little bit, my heart sunk at the start, because it's kind of like there was a bluesy rock thing. By side 3, things get pretty amazing. There's only 2 tracks on side 3, Hot Lanta and In Memory of Elizabeth Reed. And it's just fantastic sort of jazz rock, but brilliant jazz rock. The drummer's fantastic. It's really light on the kit, and the bass player's killing it, and the guitars are kind of dueling, but it's quite it doesn't get boring. It's quite engaging all the way through, and it almost sounds like sort of the best kind of 70s porno music ever. I'm not talking about like the rubbish porno music that threatens to give pornography a bad name, but it is like this sort of almost fantastic just instrumental jazz, funk. It's just brilliant. Love this album. I think this is going to be my most listened to album this year, and honestly, I would never have bought this. I mean, I've seen this album in front of me for 40 years, never touched it with a barge pole, but yeah, it's brilliant. The Almond Brothers Band, line at Fillmore East. Interesting fact, they didn't even headline this gig. I think the headline act was Johnny Winters, I think brother of Bernie Winters and Schnorbitz fame. So they didn't even headline it, and it's known as an iconic record, but yeah, Almond Brothers, live at the Fillmore East. Grab a copy of that, it's good times. Next up, a real fear of mine, sort of just the phrase blues-based Irish troubadour is enough to set my teeth on edge. Rory Gallagher, the Irish Tour, 1974. This is fantastic. Not quite as good as the Almond Brothers, but in a kind of similar vein. Guitar solos are flying all over the place, but they're brilliant. And it's a live album. Probably no coincidence that these 2 albums are live, because I think that's the only way I can handle this sort of stuff, because these acts just kind of blossom in the live arena. And brilliant. Absolutely great. Johnny Marr's favourite ever guitarist, which is weird, because obviously Johnny Marr is a guy who, in the Smiths, I think the Smiths wrote 96 songs. I think there's only 2 Smith songs with guitar solos. See if you can spot them. I may even be wrong on that. It might only be 1, but I think there's 2. I've got 2 in my head. Brilliant. Absolutely cracking. And also, I'll be honest, I bought this. If you're not into the guitar soloing and 18-minute epics, this is a cheapo compilation, which I think you can find at Rory Gallagher, and it's kind of almost like his more poppy stuff. And this is absolutely fantastic. Crest of a Wave, I'm Not Awake Yet, There's a Light, I Fall Apart. It's brilliant. I really, really am starting to enjoy Rory Gallagher. Great album. Next up, again, this was at my school. If you admitted to liking King Crimson, not only would the cool kids beat you up, but the Dungeons and Dragons Society would beat you up. I mean, you were at the bottom of the food chain if you were a King Crimson fan. I've come to this recently because I'm a Black Flag fan, and I think one of the greatest guitarists ever is Greg Ginn from Black Flag. And I read that he used to love Robert Fripp's guitar playing on this, particularly the song Red. And you can really hear it. I mean, Black Flag turned into almost a jazz, metal, rock affair towards the end. And I really enjoy those albums. Sort of angular riffs and weird time patterns. And you can really hear it on this. I've got to say also, I've just discovered Lark's Tongue in Aspic by King Crimson as well. And it's brilliant. Yeah, great stuff. Don't really like Shouty Red Faced Man album. Don't know what that's called. It's their first album. But this is great. Really enjoy it. Red by King Crimson. A lot of these records I've owned for years and never listened to. I bought a lot of these during the vinyl slump years of about 92, 93. So most of these records, apart from the Almond Brothers band, I probably bought for about £1. And I realise now they do go for a little bit more than that. I think, you know, prog is always going to go for a lot of money in it. But yeah, really enjoy this. King Crimson, particularly the song Red. The song Red is the killer. The rest of it's kind of almost quite poppy, I find. But yeah, brilliant stuff. Next up, I was watching a Rachel the Music Man stream about a month ago, and there's a guy on there who appears quite a lot called, I don't know what his name is it Rich or something? He goes under the name Calvin Wazoo, and he seems a really decent chap, and he seems to know his stuff. He's sort of, you know, left field guitar and blah blah blah. And someone mentioned Hawkwind, and he said, who are Hawkwind or something, or I've never... a Hawkwind not well known in America or so. I assumed, I'm a bit out of the loop with guitar, I assumed that Hawkwind were just a notch below Zeppelin and Black Sabbath in terms of American popularity, but apparently maybe not. I mean, this, again, I've only just discovered Hawkwind, and I probably will enjoy most Hawkwind records because I've just avoided them, because I don't know, there was a stigma. I think growing up, you'd get these kids in our village or town who would have the bum fluff moustache, and they'd always have like Hawkwind patches on their battle jackets, and you're like, oh god. Coupled with a Rush patch and a Deep Purple patch, and Hawkwind are great. I suppose in a way they're almost like the UK versions of the Stooges. Not that they particularly sound like the Stooges, but they've kind of got an idea in their head, which is a riff, and they just pummel it to the ground. I think you'd call this space rock, wouldn't you? This is Hall of the Mountain Grill, and it's really good. Kind of, I mean, I love Mudhoney, and it's not dissimilar. I can see Mudhoney must have been a fan of Hawkwind, because it's just got that sort of, those oozing riffs. And this has actually got, I mean, part of this almost sounds like Ennio Morricone spaghetti western stuff. There's some really atmospheric keyboards, and it builds, and really recommend this as well. And I think I would probably love most peak era Hawkwind albums. That's my gut feeling, but yeah, this one is brilliant. Really recommend this if you can find it. I'm sure you can pick it up anyway. Next up, I mean, this is a sacred cow, isn't it? Zeppelin. Well, I don't even know what this is called. I want to say Houses of the Holy, but it's not, is it? It is Houses of the Holy. There you go. I kind of know. Obviously, I know Zeppelin because a lot of my friends are music fans. I've grown up, but I know, you know, I was always a bit switched off, especially when their lyrical concerns went into areas like I don't know, slaying goblins and stuff like that. I don't know, sacrificing virgins. This, I mean, I may be wrong, but this is probably the Led Zeppelin album for people who don't like Led Zeppelin. Is that fair to say? The song that tipped me off on this one is Over the Hills and Far Away. I think that's amazing, that song. I just absolutely love it. John Bonham, what a drummer that guy is. I mean, I know I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, but holy crap, John Bonham, what a drummer. I do really like this album. It's probably their most well produced at the time, wasn't it? Is that fair to say? And I'm so out of the loop with Zeppelin that I've been a Beastie Boys fan for 35 years, and I love the song She's Crafty. I had no idea that they'd nicked the sample from She's Crafty from this album, which I think was the tune The Ocean, which is a great tune on here as well. But great album, love this. And I do know other Led Zeppelin stuff, and I do like, I kind of like, I don't like Led Zeppelin 4 particularly. I kind of like the first two albums a little bit as well. But yeah, this is the one for me. Love it. This one, you know, jazz fusion, obviously again, just my blood runs cold. I mean, I like jazz, but jazz fusion, you know, I don't know. This album is a killer, an absolute killer. And this is a jaw-dropping album, I think, and you've got to get it on vinyl. The Mahavishnu Orchestra with John McLaughlin, absolutely fantastic. You've got Billy Cobham on drums, who is just killing it. You've got John McLaughlin on guitar, who's firing off riffs and bending guitar notes left, right and centre. There's also a couple of very beautiful ballads on it. There's no vocals on this, but there's some beautiful... there's a song called, I think, Meeting of the Spirits. And this whole album's great. And I do recommend it on vinyl because it bursts out of your speakers. Utterly fantastic. Again, Greg Ginn from Black Flag. This is how I got tipped off to this. Huge fan of John McLaughlin. And you can see it like a bit like the King Crimson. Angular riffs, time patterns. But again, it's not nerdy. It's fantastic. Probably one of the worst sleeves I've ever seen. I've got to be honest. I always wonder how these things get through marketing. Like, yeah, we want a picture of ourselves. Okay, yeah. Inside a flame. Right. And we're going to call the album The Inner Mounting Flame. Okay. And we need it to look shit. Yeah, we can do that. And it kind of feels like a terrible, terrible sleeve. Brilliant record. Love this. Don't like any of their other stuff, I've got to be honest, but this is killer. It actually floors you. The Mahavishnu Orchestra, The Inner Mounting Flame. And you can still get it cheap. I see this for £6-7 all over the shop. Finally, and this is the real taboo. This does feel like I've stepped over the Dark Lord's terrain. ZZ Top, the best of. Obviously, I grew up in the ZZ Top MTV era, which I just thought was horrendous. I'm not going to lie. Although I did have to draw the curtains once when they played Legs on MTV. I think I had a bit of a moment there. This is the best of ZZ Top from their first 4 albums. And it's great. This does contain some sort of sexual innuendo, I believe. I mean, there's a song in here called Backdoor Love Affair. Yeah, you join the dots on that. There's a song called Waiting for the Bus, which doesn't seem... So, you know, you formed your band, yeah. Let's rock. Waiting for the Bus. Tush is great. Lagrange is great. It's something about the guitar tones on these early ZZ Top albums, which are brilliant. They really appeal to me. And again, there's a band on SST I love called the Meat Puppets, and they started to get influenced by ZZ Top on some of their later albums like Monsters and Huevos, which is probably what led me into this. But it's great. It's kind of minimal and it doesn't go too nuts. It's brilliant. Love it. ZZ Top. So I won't buy any of their other albums, by the way. So that's some of my favourite albums by bands that I do have a bit of an irrational fear of. And yeah, thanks a lot for watching, and there'll be some more videos soon. Cheers. Bye now.